So welcome back. This is actually going to be, I guess, kind of a long-term wrap-up of the X1 Extreme Generation 1, which, by the way, they don't make anymore because they stopped, I believe, after the Gen 5 by Lenovo. I've had this laptop now for quite some time. If you've been following the channel, you can see some of the items I've addressed since I've had it, mods, etc. But I really want to kind of cover how it's held up over the time that I've had it. I've had a bunch of Lenovo's, and this one, it did okay. But it did have its share of issues, which I'll kind of discuss. And let me tell you what, let me go ahead and pop this thing open, and we'll actually talk about one of the first issues that this thing actually had. It's not happening right now, but normally when I actually either bring this laptop out of hibernation or I wake it up, it will give me an error on the screen. I'm going to see if I can actually demonstrate that for you right now. And what it's actually telling me is it's my one of my fans failed in this laptop and I was unable to fix it. I actually replaced the fan assembly and I did a bunch of other things. And of course, I went and read and went through all the forums and tried to figure out how to make this thing work, and it didn't. The problem with that is because this laptop is so thin, heating or being able to manage the heat is very important. I mean, you only have so many ports to begin with. So when these things aren't actually working, it's kind of funny because you can see which one works and which one actually doesn't because it has some dust. But this laptop will not be able to run basically up until where it's capable. So even though I had undervoted before, I did a bunch of different things to try to make it work, it still would not basically run at its peak performance without throttling really, really quick because the heat just builds up. Well, needless to say, it's not doing what I needed to do right now. Maybe I can get it and I'll put in some B-roll that I actually have it. But normally it'll tell me that, hey, there's a failure. It'll give me a, I really want to demonstrate this because it's a very important thing that really needs to be, you need to address because what ended up happening is anytime you do like an install or an update or something where it has to reboot, the problem is that error just comes back up. So it never completes the install. I noticed a couple of times where I had it sitting, on one of my stands, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking it's finished because I'm doing something else on a different computer or something else in general. And that error is just sitting there. And basically what you have to do when you get the error is you have to hit the escape key. And then once you hit the escape key, it'll continue to do the thing that it was trying to do. It's kind of inconvenient, to be honest with you. So right now, it's still shutting down. Let's start it back up to see if I can actually get the error. And if it works, you'll see the black screen. And at the very top, it's almost like it's checking the BIOS. And here it tells you single fan error, press escape key to continue to boot. Otherwise, press other key to shut down. So if you do nothing, this is eventually just going to go away and it won't continue forward. Kind of a pain, but like I said, the bigger pain is not being able to manage the heat. Other than that, and I knew what I was getting into when I bought this laptop. Yes, I wanted to use it for gaming, and yes, I wanted to use it for, video work, all types of other stuff. I understood that it had its own limitations because of what it actually is. But if it were not for that one thing, I would have actually marked the, I would say, reliability of this laptop pretty high because everything else worked as it should. It's held up over the time. You can see all the keys, nothing has like worn down or worn off. I did replace the track point, but that's a whole separate issue. I started developing a problem with my darn finger. And I don't know what it is with this generation of track points, but I tried to swap out for an aftermarket one and I still kind of got the same problem. So I think it's just me, not necessarily the laptop. Oh gosh, all these darn things. Eventually, I decided to go ahead and just upgrade it to Windows 11. And at some point, I thought that, well, maybe if I ran across like a 4K screen for the Gen 1s, or I think the Gen 2s work also, I would probably just grab that and throw that on here since this will probably just be more or less my, if I'm out and about and I want to bring something with me to surf the internet or, you know, just do some word processing, I'll just, because I still like the laptop, I still like the keyboard. So it's staying in the rotation, but it's not going to be my main rig. I will actually have an upcoming video that will discuss what the replacement for this laptop is. And it was kind of a pain because what I really wanted didn't necessarily exist. So I think there are some compromises to get the replacement for this laptop, which is actually a good thing. And frankly, I think it shows how great this laptop actually is, you know, barring any of the other issues. But yeah, it held out fine, you know, fingerprint reader, you know, all the things that you buy it for, they just still work well, other than that one issue. So if for some reason, you know, you're on the fence about buying one of these, you know, maybe used because they don't make them new now. You know, I would just say, you know, research what you're getting into, but I wouldn't have an issue like recommending the laptop with that one caveat that, hey, that darn single fan unit, if it fails, you'll just be in the same boat as me. Like I said, right now it runs fine. The other thing I've noticed, and I've tried to address this by replacing the battery, is the battery doesn't hold the same amount of charge as it did when I bought it. Now, keep in mind, that's supposed to happen to the types of batteries that are in here, but this is not the original battery. I've replaced the battery, and for some reason, I don't know if it has anything to do with that single fan failure or something else, it will not get up to, I think before when I first got this laptop, I could get like 6 to 8 hours out of it. There is no way I get 6 to 8 hours out of this laptop now, even with a new battery. So that's just one thing that just kind of happened. And because I don't know if they're interrelated, yeah, it's hard for me to say that it's a fault of the laptop or if it's or maybe it's some other issue. Well, I would think it's still an issue with the laptop, but what that issue is, I do not know. But because of what I'm going to be using it for now, that 4 to 6 hours is more than sufficient. So yeah, going forward, I do have a replacement for it. The replacement was going to actually be another Lenovo, but that was a pain in itself. And I ended up going another route, which you'll see in the next video. But if you have any questions, feel free, click like, subscribe, or actually I should say if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section down below. Click like, subscribe. Agent Fit signing out.